reveal. Once I was happy with it was time to build the surroundings.
uh, I mean, I mean, realistically, a T-Rex wouldn't really bother with the photographer.
Nature photographer would be getting if they filmed this reveal. Once I was happy with the edits, it was time to surroundings. So just what did T-Rex look like? Well, T-Rex inhabited much of western North America, a land known as Lyrimidia. This spanned from the northwest, where light snowfall and seasonal shifts were common, to the east, which saw milder, more stable
Hell
climates,
Creek.
and to the southwest, which was shaped by volcanic activity. But among these, the most iconic T-Rex habitat was in the east, home to the famous Hell Creek Formation.
Yeah, Hell Creek. The most famous formation ever.
The most well-researched and studied fossil site and habitat in the world.
Yes. You know, ever since Jurassic Park came about, everything, dinosaur enthusiasm shot through the roof. Just like that.
Unfortunately, the exact trees and plants from 66 million years ago no longer exist, and modeling an entire extinct ecosystem
Let's see.
scratch is a bit outside the scope of this video.
I mean, yeah, because this is about dinosaur fight, not an ecosystem.
But by using trees and plants that resemble their prehistoric counterparts, we can get a pretty good picture of where Big Daddy Rex lived oh so many years ago. And
Alright.
that picture was a giant, prehistoric redwood forest. So I corralled as many assets as I could find that matched the look and feel of what we needed and started building the scene. I added in atmosphere, insects, and I went ahead and made an entire muscle system for the dinosaurs.
Really cool detail. Maybe including a corpse as well. I don't really know. Nah, it's just nah. Never mind. Not a corpse because it's pretty clear that this is going to be fight for a mate.
But it made the file sizes way too big, and I didn't want this to happen. So I ended up replacing it with good old big. The file sizes big.
As you can see here, a lot of gigabytes.
Didn't want this to happen. So I ended up replacing it with good old reliable wiggle bones, which allowed me to get the same basic effect at a fraction of the cost. I also used these to give
Wiggle
the
bone.
saliva and blood drool as the fight progressed.
Nice. Saliva and blood drool. I don't think you see in a prehistoric planet either, so it's really cool.
This happens in many fights between Komodo dragons, coupled with breathing, nostrils flaring, and
Komodo dragons, they tend to avoid trying to bite each other because, you know, their bites could potentially kill.
blinking. This should allow the creatures to
Anti-flag.
feel alive and real. Once I was happy with it, I could hit render. I went to do important things, came back when it was finished, and then brought it in for post-processing and sound effects, which is where I need to ruin many people's childhoods. Because you see, T-Rex and most dinosaurs wouldn't have been able to roar.
Yep. The most they could do is hiss or bellow, similar to crocodiles. However, you know, they don't have that special larynx in them like birds do, and they can't roar, and they definitely cannot roar like mammals. Valley of the T-Rex had the audacity to use bear roars on a Tyrannosaurus.
And honestly, might not have been able to vocalize at all. Why? Well, the only fossil we have related to the vocal anatomy of dinosaurs is the larynx of an ankylosaurus, suggesting, like most animals, dinosaurs had a larynx.
Okay.
This is different
Okay.
from birds who sing using a special vocal organ called a syrinx, which might
I always confuse that. Sorry. So, dinosaurs had a larynx, but not a syrinx like birds do. So,
exist in dinosaurs at all. So unfortunately, T-Rex could not sing like a songbird.
but imagine though, a scene where a T-Rex could sing like an orchestra, like in an orchestra. It's crazy. It would be absolutely hilarious.
And the thing is, they're not all made equal. Some reptiles have larynges that allow vocalization, and others are completely silent. And when it comes to dinosaurs, we just don't know which type they had. So, but it doesn't mean T-Rex make no sound at all. Hisses, bellows, and slapping the surroundings are all sounds that animals make.
Mm, fair point. So, T-Rex probably made hisses and bellows. That's all I'm gonna really say here. But let's see what this guy has to say.
Almost definitive sounds a T-Rex would have produced. If it did have a functioning vocal larynx, it would have sounded not like a bird or a mammal, but instead more like a crocodile.
Yes.
As their more prehistoric vocal anatomy is probably much closer to what dinosaurs would have also sported, which is exactly what YouTube channel Studio did. They took the sounds of crocodilians, along with other reptiles and non-syrinx-based birds, and scaled them up to the size of T-Rex and other dinosaurs to produce the most scientifically possible dinosaur sounds available to date. And he's graciously allowing me to use them. So go check out his video to hear the full range of dinosaurs he's brought back to life. So with
Nice. Anyways,
in mind, I built the soundscape of this titan using as many of these non-roaring, biologically possible sounds as possible. And after all this, we had our finished fight. But I wanted to do something with everything we've learned so far, which is why I'm turning the T-Rex into a plush toy. This will be the first scientifically accurate T-Rex plushie ever made.
plushie.
This will
Plush
be the
toy,
first
nice.
scientifically accurate T-Rex plushie ever made. And for just $2, you can reserve your spot and help us bring it to life.
Hat and sunglasses will be removable. Grizzly the T-Rex. With all those scars and those colors, I like this. However, I don't think I'm going to be able to afford that.
The second link down below to claim your Grizzly. And now, without further ado, this is what a T-Rex fight actually looks like.
Kindly use headphones for best experience. I predict it's going to be it's just going to be intimidation, escalation, non-lethal attacks, non-lethal bites, and then that's the end. Hopefully that's the case. Let us see. Alright. Okay. For the budget, I'm not going to complain about some animation easing errors and all that. This is not Prehistoric Planet, alright? This is not going to be Prehistoric Planet level quality. So, I can't really say it. I can't really say anything about it. Mating. And then we got a giant thing. Giant toe thingo. Yeah. Saliva. Really cool. So, two T-Rexes are going to be battling each other out. They're going to be encircling each other, which is a good thing to see. I mean, it makes sense because Going in first play would be an incredibly silly move. That would just not be beneficial at all for anyone. His bellow. Nice. We're going to be sizing each other up. Snapping, slapping stuff. I like the hissing. This just feels way more natural than it should be, you know? Now they're going to be fighting each other. Alright. Fight for the mate. Alright. Fighting each other to try and size each other up once again. Okay. Now it's time for them to really go in. As you can see here. Yeah. It's obvious. But, you know, they're going to be still trying to fight each other as blood and saliva begin. You know, they're both getting worn out, kind of. Oh, they're biting, still biting, still attacking. They're still going to try and fight for the mate. But they are not going to attack lethally because, you know, that's not how nature works in general. So we've got this T-Rex, the other T-Rex. One of them is going to have to back off eventually. Okay. Okay. The right T-Rex is probably going to win this engagement. Force the left T-Rex to leave. Because this is this is quite a powerful bite that yeah. At this point, the left T-Rex would go. I think. I think so anyway. Yeah. There it is. This is how nature works. It's cruel. It's cruel, but there it is. It's cruel but fair. And that's really all I gotta say. That's really all I gotta say about it. There it is.
And that brings us to the third and final point. While Hollywood and an audience loves a definitive winner, nature is much more forgiving.
I mean, yeah. Nature doesn't really want these animals to fight to the death because it would just work against it. Seriously.
And most fights do not result in death. The aim of the fight is never to kill, but simply to win. And that's what we saw happen here. Once Grizzly laid a definitive blow on the challenger, they both knew it was over, and going any further would again put their lives in danger. And why bother? They have to think about tomorrow. And that's the main thing I wanted to show with this video. That while formidable, terrifying, and otherworldly, at the end of the day, this was a real animal.
Both of them are animals, not movie monsters who love fighting to the death. Exactly. This man is speaking. This man is spitting facts all around.
A movie monster, and I hope I did that. So let me know what you thought of the fight.
It was a really, cool, realistic fight of two animals, two realistic depictions of animals just trying to do something, trying to fight for a mate, and challenging territory and all that. But this is probably